Welcome to Passionate and Practical, the art of dreaming, doing, and serving. Today, we are here with Ashley Curbelo talking about hospitality and gift giving, loving on others through open doors and gift baskets. So welcome to the show, Ash.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your passion for hospitality and gift giving and how those things complement each other.
So I think, first of all, I just think it's kind of who I am. You know, I've taken those personality tests before, and I literally come out as the host in a not weird way, just the host. And so I have loved doing hosting people in my home and giving gifts my entire life. My mom is superb at it, and so are the rest of the women in my family. So I think it comes naturally to us. But for me, hosting is just a way to wrap people in love when they come over to your house. And I want nothing more than my home to be comfortable, a place where you can just take your shoes off, curl up on the couch, open the fridge when you're hungry or thirsty, and just a place to feel safe and relax and have fun.
Well, you hit all of those boxes every time I'm in your home because I have a little one, and I feel like even though your home is beautifully designed and staged, it is also comfortable. So that is such a hard balance with being clean and gorgeous, and just it's an older home, so it has this grand feeling with the tall ceilings and everything. But as soon as I walk in your home, I know I can take my shoes off, I can be me, and my son can run around and get into anything, and I know that you're not going to freak out like, oh, that's my leather couch, stop. So
It's not real leather, so there's that.
So tell us a little bit about the culture of your home. You just bought your home not too long ago, and give us a little bit of, since we're not in it, give us a little bit of the feel and the vibe of your household.
So my husband and I are both really neat and clean people, so we do like to keep our home really tidy, and we want it to be beautiful, but we also do not want it to be a museum. It should not feel cold or like you can't play in it or have fun or make a mess. And so the culture of our home is that, we like to be neat and orderly, we like to stay organized, but at the end of the day, we'll do whatever it takes to have a good time and to throw a good little party. And so if that means messing things up, then that's what happens. And we usually have more fun when we do that anyway. So we just try to go with flow.
So tell us a little bit about your passion for gift giving and how that kind of ties into hospitality. So you give lavish gifts. Like, I'm talking, the most loved I've ever felt from gifts has been from some of the things that I've received from you. You just are so thoughtful and intentional. But one thing I love is that sometimes your gifts actually feel like it's bringing a piece of your home to wherever I'm receiving the gift. So how does that work? It's almost like your personal brand of like home and decor, but it's also you have a vibe about you that just speaks love and encouragement and freedom.
Thank you.
What is that?
I think a lot of it comes from growing up in Maine. It's a much like the South, everyone is very hospitable. When you drive around, even if you don't know the person, you kind of wave to them wherever you are. And that is just the culture of living in the state of Maine. And I think I've just taken that with me everywhere I've gone. So for me, to be hospitable is to just love on other people if you know them or not. And I think that goes hand in hand with gift giving, because when I host people, I want it to feel like a gift. I want them to come over and have it be a refuge for them. And gift giving, I just love. My mom is super, super good at it. She's better than I am probably. But I just like the way people's face light up. Not it doesn't have to be an expensive gift, but people's faces will light up, and they will they appreciate that you've thought about them and you've been intentional in what you've given them. And I know not everybody is great at that. It is a skill, I think, but I have tips on how you can kind of cut corners around it being like an innate skill, and it can be learned.
Well, I am one that definitely needs to learn this skill because sometimes I see things that are on the shelf somewhere and I'm like, that would be perfect for this person. And then there's other times where I know a birthday is around the corner or Christmas is around the corner, and I just get analysis paralysis. I'm like, what do I get them? I want it to be the perfect gift. But then here's the really bad part about this is, like, sometimes I just end up getting nothing because I'm going for...
My birthday's coming up, so start preparing now.
Girl, I know. It's on my calendar. But, I mean, it is like I have this high bar for what I'm going to reach, and then I get so overwhelmed by that I'm like, nothing will do.
Yeah.
Maybe a $3, $3 chuck or whatever from Aldi or the winking owl.
Yeah.
It's like, I just gave someone a $3 bottle of wine.
You know what happens in life. You got to give yourself grace. But I think So if you had $3 to spend, here's a really fun way to spend it. Buy 3 scratch-off tickets. They're like super fun and novel. It's not like you want to create a gambling problem, but it's a lot of fun. It's super easy.
The real question
yes.
is, when did anyone ever become addicted to gambling based on
scratch-off tickets?
Scratch-off
I mean,
tickets.
I hope no one, but I know some people that buy a lot of tickets. But they're also really good at winning. We digress. Point being, for me, what I do is make sure that I am thinking often. Like, it's just in my blood. I like to give gifts. And so when I'm out shopping and I see something that someone might like, I just pick it up and I keep it in my closet in my office at home so that nobody peeks and finds it. And then I give it on that holiday. So right now I have a couple of gifts stashed away, some for birthdays, some for Christmas, and that just makes it so much easier when the time comes. And it also, you get to wrap it early. I love the process of wrapping gifts too. And so it pushes your timeline forward, and it's done by the time the holiday gets here. So I keep an eye out for sales. Prime Day is a great day to buy gifts. I bought all of my nieces and nephews their presents for Christmas for probably $100 for all 4 of them.
Another area where I failed. You told me about Prime Day. I had my cart stocked up with stuff, and I didn't click the buy button. So did I just think that it was going to, you know, last forever? Like these great sales.
And sometimes they sell out in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it was a rough go for me. You know,
I thought you'll get them next time. Black Friday's coming.
Yeah. Thanks for your grace. Well, hospitality and gift giving have one major thing in common, and that's generosity. So in order to be hospitable, it looks very much like giving of yourself, of your time, of your resources, of your food, and the alcohol you have in the cabinet, if you are into that kind of thing. If you imbibe, is that the right way to word that?
That is the right word. Well played.
Thank you. So anyways, so hospitality and gift giving, the thing that they have in common is this concept of generosity.
Yeah.
So tell me what role generosity plays in your life.
So the first thing I would say is that my husband is also a host on that survey we took, so we both just love it. And when we come over, we want people to be really well fed and really well hydrated, whatever that means for them, and to just enjoy themselves. So we put out a ton of food. We like people to take stuff home. He's Cuban. We all enjoy his Cuban cooking, so we always make extra and send away leftovers, but just to bring people together and to love on them, and be generous with our time and our home. And I mean, we do have a beautiful home. We are so fortunate, but we think about the gifts that we have and the talents that we have, not as like we worked hard for it, we deserve to kind of hoard all these things, but as giving away the gifts that God has given us. And so for us, it's all about giving it away, and ironically, it all comes back to you tenfold. I mean, the feeling you get when you give away, yes, but we also continue to be blessed with a lot of great opportunities and ways to host people and give gifts. So I think it all comes full circle.
I love that. And that's ultimately, that's the message of the gospel. So it says, God so loved the world that he gave. So he gifted us his son to live a perfect life, but then he was willing to die the most gruesome and painful and awful death for our sake, for our sins. So so every time that we give of ourselves in a sacrificial way, and hosting a dinner party is, I don't compare that to what Jesus did. But when we're willing to dive in and give of ourselves, it's a little piece of heaven that's on earth. And so one of the things I love when you host parties is your giant charcuterie board that's basically the size of a tree that was kind of just like formed in the shape of a charcuterie board, but takes up probably 4 feet of your island. It does.
Thank you, Joanna Gaines.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about that. How do you build the perfect spread?
So my mom, again, gets all the credit for being just amazing at creating cookie platters, charcuterie boards, cooking in general, and presentation and display. Like, she could work for, stores in New York City designing windows. She's amazing at it. The key is to fill up all the space. Fill the space on the board. A cheap and easy way to do that. I feel like I'm giving away. I will take the credit. The board does look great. I buy everything at Costco. So it's literally the double meat pack of like salami, pepperoni, prosciutto, capricosa, and I just take it all out and kind of section that out. And then I take blocks of cheese and put those here and there, throw a knife in them, and then sprinkle in some crackers and some dried fruit, and you are good to go, like apricots or craisins or cherries, and some nuts here and there. Actually, I should be careful of that because some people might have nut allergies, but anyway, they'll be fine. I'll tell them to keep an eye out for it. But it just filling it up, and then sometimes like little jam things on there. It's great though because it is so easy. People think it's difficult. It takes me maybe 10 minutes to put together, and then it feeds a ton of people for a long time. So it's a really easy and inexpensive way to feed a large crowd.
So kind of on that topic of food sensitivities, I'm gluten and dairy free, and I feel like you've been really respectful of how to kind of make sure that I'm taken care of while also making sure that I don't feel like, oh, you can't have what we're having kind of thing. So today's day and age, hosting is like a whole nother level with having kids over, with having allergies and just preferences in general, picky eaters. So how do you move forward with confidence knowing that, I'm going to try my best, but I'm not going to kill myself over it or
So I would say preparedness is a good way to do that. So our nieces and nephews come and visit, so we have kid dinnerware and baby spoons and stuff because we know that in general people come to our house that need those. So we're prepared with that. I also keep a gluten and dairy-free cheese pizza in my freezer for any time there's something Lexi can't eat. Well, at the end of the day, we can at least feed her that, so she won't go hungry. But I have a number of friends that have food allergies, so like I have gluten-free cookie mix in the cupboard. So even though it's not from scratch, it's something that can make everyone feel included, but it's really not uncommon anymore. So I do think it's important to be, you don't have to kill yourself over it, but be sensitive to the fact that people do have allergies.
Yeah. I feel most loved when people just shoot me a text and say, hey, is there anything that you can't eat or are sensitive to, and it's very prevalent today, and I really, really appreciate when people do that. So,
and I think it's easy when you're hosting a party, everyone asks, what can I bring? What can I bring? So if your friend has a food allergy, just say, grab some gluten-free chips.
Yes.
And then that's it. They've helped contribute to the party and to their own, to making sure that there's something they like on the menu.
Yeah, that's a great tip. So what do you think as far as this Romans 12 way of living? So Romans 12 just says, be hospitable, welcome people in, and love on others well. So how do we, as believers, how do we move forward with this kind of charge that we've been given to open our homes and do it in such a gracious way?
So a friend of mine went to a Christmas tea last year, and I wasn't able to go, but her table was about hosting. That was the topic, and she came back with a quote, and it said, to entertain is to impress, and to host is to bless. And I love that because I know people that entertain, and they have gorgeous homes, and they have a great spread, but it's kind of like you're moving throughout the museum looking at the pictures by yourself, and like that's not the vibe I want in my house. And so for me, I truly want people to feel loved when they come in my home. It is important to me that when people come to my house, they are worry-free and they feel loved.
Yes.
And that doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if we just met. And so my husband's the same way, thankfully. And I mean, he's probably even more so than I am. He's like, if Lexi needs like grade A steak, then we will buy that for her. Like, it doesn't matter if it costs $50. That's how he is. It's just how he was raised and his personality. And we both love to bring that to the table. So yeah, set everything up, make it look great. And it also takes some practice to have things run smoothly, but spend your time loving on people instead of worrying about the details being perfect.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a $50 steak, and I totally, Ray is that kind of guy. He would bring out, I don't know how to, I always mess up quotes, like bring out the stars. I don't know. He'd roll out the red carpet.
There you go. That's a good one.
I think that's pretty good. So that is definitely Ray. And so how would you take that kind of heart and move it into more of a, let's say you're in your early 20s, you're just getting started with your career, you're like money's tight and you're saving up or paying off student loans. How do you encourage that person with hospitality and generosity within their own means?
So when we first started hosting like parties and stuff at our house, our charcuterie platter was much smaller. So that's the first piece.
The charcuterie platter gets to grow. That's something to look forward to. By the time we're 80, it's going to be
the entire island.
Yeah. We'll just drive a car into the living room, and then you can just pick off the windshield and
It started out, it was just a lot less pressure. I mean, you're a bunch of 20-somethings. Most people were coming like sweaty from the gym. They grabbed a burrito on the way. So it's just a lot less pressure, and we were at a different stage in life. So I think that's a piece of it, just giving yourself grace. Like nobody really, at least hopefully, your friends don't have huge expectations when it comes to coming over to your house. If they're hungry, they can ask for food, and people know they can do that at my house. But I think just taking it easy on yourself, and again, thinking about how do I love on this person, not how do I impress this person. And that's important when you differentiate between a box of macaroni and cheese, which is acceptable to make for you and your girlfriends, versus, you know, a 5-star meal.
I'm so glad that you touched on that, because I've definitely been, a couple summers ago, I went to California, and I went to this grand party, and it was at this most gorgeous home, but this guy had a garage of about 30 cars, and all he did was like point at them and tell people how much they cost. And that was just such a turnoff. And it was like this gorgeous home with this gorgeous view of California and all of this fancy food, but the warmth wasn't there. So it's like, if we're just chasing after status for the sake of impressing others, we are going to be empty, and honestly, all of our guests are going to be empty too. So I love, some of my favorite times with you and Ray are just snuggling up on the couch. Like, you've got this great new couch that turns into a bed. Awesome.
Yes, that is great.
But we all just sit on the couch and the love sack, and we, you know, kick our feet up and we watch TV together, and we talk through the commercials, and we talk about the characters and stuff like that. And it's so simple, but we really feel like we're doing life with you guys, as opposed to, you know, showing up and you know, being all tight.
Having an event and then leaving.
Right. It just feels like home. That's the cool thing. Is like, I'm a homebody. I'd rather be home most of the time than be out.
Exactly.
But I'd also rather be at your home than be out. So it's a win-win. So let's kind of take a shift towards gift giving. So let's touch on your relationship with Ray. His love language is gift giving, or gift receiving.
That's right.
He loves to receive. So how do you love on him through gifts?
Yeah, so I'm so thankful because I'm really good at his love language. My love language is quality time and words of affirmation. So he spends a lot of time working at that, and doing his best to fulfill those. I know they're a little bit harder, but for me, gift giving is really easy. And so for him, I would say that yes, on major holidays or a major birthday, I will give him, you know, a big gift. Like, I can't say what I'm getting him for Christmas because he'll hear this, but for example, Prime Day, he really wanted an Amazon Firebox TV thingy. Got it for him. Gave it to him on a random Tuesday afternoon, mostly because I wanted to watch TV. But he was so excited. Like, that's his thing, gadgets. But my favorite gifts to give him, and that actually I think light him up even more, are like going out to, sometimes I'll run down to Rembrandt's in the middle of the workday and get his favorite little pastry. I forget what it's called, but it looks like a little hamburger. It's so cute. And other times I'll just bring him a coffee in the middle of the afternoon if I know he's having a rough day. And bringing those surprise little gifts. Again, they're things that I learned from my parents. My dad always brings my mom home Dunkin' Donuts on his way home from work, like a decaf coffee. So it's learned, but it's also just, it's such a blessing for someone who loves coffee and is having a stressful day. So those little things and gestures, I would say, they don't even have to be gift. I consider that more of a gesture, and that is a gift in and of itself. So he loves that.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I heard, I was listening to a different podcast, and it was talking about around the holidays how stressful it is to buy gifts, and for instance, it was talking about your dad. So like, it was saying you could spend $50 on a sweater that he may or may not like, or you could spend $15 on a gift card for some place like Starbucks or a local bakery or coffee shop, and you can put that in the card, but it's not just the gift card. It says, this is an experience to be enjoyed together. And so it's just saying that, you know, I could have got you this fancy sweater, but instead I spent less money, and that's a great way to do it on a budget too, is like, even if it's a $5 gift card, it's just like, this is an experience to be shared. And so the way that you give it and the way that you write, I mean, sometimes people just love knowing how much they mean to you. So I love card writing, and so I love to that's how I just love on people, is just to write them a card. And I just love this thought of making experiences out of gifts, and sometimes that's not feasible, and sometimes people actually want something that they've been looking for. But
you should share how you did that with us, because I loved our graduation gift. That was like one of the best presents we've ever had.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'll give you a little secret. Costco, and you already know this, but Costco has these, you spend $80 to get $100 worth of a restaurant. So we have a local restaurant called Aaliyah. It's one of my favorite restaurants in Chattanooga, and but it's $50, two $50 gift cards for the price of $80. So we gave them a $50 gift card. We had a $50 gift card, and we wrote in their card, this is like happy graduation. We want to have dinner with you guys. So we were both able to use those gift cards at dinner, and we had an experience together. So it was really fun.
And you feel like you're winning a little bit because you got that 20% off. So even though you still end up paying more than the gift cards, it's fun.
Oh yeah, my anniversary is around the corner, so we were just at Costco and I picked up one of those, and I told Blake when I got home, I was like, honey, I got our anniversary present, and we're going, and I thought, he's really gonna like this because he loves to save money here and there, so it's a win-win. If eating fancy food was a love language, I'm just gonna say that is mine.
That'd be you,
because
for sure.
I mean, thank you, Robin Bouchard, my mother. She raised me on some good food. Thank you, Mama. I learned to eat sushi and steak and, all the finer things in life from her. And I really, there's not a cuisine that I don't love.
That's
and
awesome.
So, it's definitely something that fuels my fire, is just being with people around meals. And
that's a huge part of hosting. I mean, feeding people is loving people in so many different cultures.
Oh yeah, the way to my heart is through my stomach. They say that about husbands. Girl, get me some good food and I will do whatever you want. Happy camper. I'll hike. We'll go on hikes with our husbands.
I would do that.
Yeah,
I would hike for a piece of bread.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. So how can someone who doesn't care to receive gifts recognize that love language in a friend, family member, or spouse?
So I think it's really easy. I don't think it takes much skill or anything to recognize. Sometimes people do just give a gift because they have no idea what to get you, so they just get something. And the thought is that at the end of the day, they thought about you. So that's important to recognize. And then the second piece is, you can tell if people knew what to get you or they didn't. So, like, for example, I love everything nautical. Everything. Anchors, the color navy blue, white, red, whales, just if it's nautical, you name it. Sometimes I get gifts that are a little more on, like, the cheeky or kind of, like... Kitschy. Is kitschy, is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that a word?
Yeah,
Kitschy?
absolutely.
On that end of the spectrum. But... I appreciate it because, they know that I love nautical stuff, and they thought about me and were intentional about that gift. And the excitement they probably felt is the same I feel when I buy a gift for someone, like, oh, Ashley's going to love this.
You just tell them, try harder next time. Like, this is good, but this is actually from the dollar
Try
section.
Home Goods next time.
Right.
No, so I try to appreciate, that people gave that gift out of love. And then I'll find a way to repurpose it or give it to someone who will love it.
So as a gift giver or a gift receiver, you are okay with repurposing gifts?
Well, often, if it's for a donation, yes. So sometimes I might put a little gift basket together, and there could be something I throw in there, or for, like, that goes for an auction or as a gift for someone else, or to donate back to charity. I appreciate gifts. I will tell, like, more often than not, I have very specific things that I want, like the new Joanna Gaines cookbook. That's on my list, but there are very few things on my list of stuff that I really want, because it's important to me to, like, declutter my house. I don't like to have too many things that I don't really need that are just for show. So I try to get better at that. So I make myself feel less guilty about donating the gift, knowing that
girl,
I'm maintaining my declutter.
There's no shame in the minimalist game, because I'm the same way. This is total side tangent, but when Blake and I were getting serious and we were going through our stuff and trying to get rid of stuff, some of it was gifts that he wanted to hold on to because so-and-so gave him.
Oh,
but
preach, girl.
The one thing that I found that was not a gift, I mean, maybe from his dentist, but was his wisdom teeth. He had his wisdom teeth in storage, and I was like, we're not moving forward with our life until you get rid of these things. So
my husband's kind of a hoarder too.
Woo!
He's very sentimental. He likes to hold on to things that they really do mean something to him.
Yeah.
I'm less about that. I haven't found any teeth yet.
They remind me of my first 18 years of
Yeah.
I don't get it. Anyways, we move on from that. So this gorgeous gift basket didn't just appear out of thin air. It was actually put together by Ashley for some of her neighbors. So
Yeah.
she is so intentional about loving on people through gift baskets. And so she's kind of going to teach us how to build a gift basket, whether it's on a $20 budget or you have a $50 budget. You can kind of tell us how to tweak items accordingly.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell us about this.
So we have new neighbors that moved in, and the culture of our historic neighborhood is just so precious. People are so kind to each other. They love each other. There are people from all different backgrounds and walks of life, and I love that. And so I wanted to start to cultivate and welcome people into the neighborhood that are new in my area. So it's a gift basket. It's a gift for someone I don't know. I know they're from Canada because I've seen their license plate, so I can assume they like coffee. So because I don't know them, I kind of put the theme around Chattanooga to it. So Velo Coffee, my absolute favorite coffee roaster ever in the history of the world here in Chattanooga. Bone Shaker is the best. So I got them some coffee from my favorite bakery, Need Love. So it's all with love. Like, these are things that I like, but I want to introduce them to some flavors of Chattanooga. And then this is some Miss Shelley's jam that's also sold at Need Love's. A little succulent from Whole Foods.
Alive or not?
This one is alive. I've had my baskets made for a little while, and yeah, she's wilting a little. I put some water in her.
Succulents are
Hardy, right?
They're people that don't care for plants proof.
Okay. Well, you wouldn't say that if you saw the other gift basket. We have two neighbors that moved in. The basket is from Michael's. I buy a couple of these at a time with like a 50% off coupon, so they're like $2-3 a piece. Perfect. And then I just wrote on a little card that we had from our wedding.
Those are
We
so
had a
beautiful.
ton of extra of these, and at the time I was
So
like,
beautiful.
why didn't I write more cards? But they're great because Ashley and Ray, and now I write just a little welcome note, put our phone numbers on there, and throw it in there so that they know how to get in touch with
And
us.
then tell us about this stuff.
Oh, so it's super easy. I feel like people get caught up in like putting plastic over it. This is just some crinkle craft paper. They sell it at Michael's. They sell it on Amazon. So sometimes if I see a sale somewhere, I'll just buy a bunch of it, and then you literally take one full bag, put it in there, and then just shove the stuff in and let it sit. It will naturally settle and look beautiful, and it takes zero effort at all. And then at the end of the day, they're going to dismantle the whole thing and enjoy the coffee and the jam and put their plant on their windowsill, and they'll feel love. So, and then hopefully reuse the basket, which I do often too. So that's how you keep it low cost.
Perfect.
I mean, this was probably maybe $25.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, the next thing that we're going to dive into is this rapid fire. It's got a little bit of a funny twist to it, so be ready to be hilarious.
God.
No pressure at all.
Pressure's on.
But as we wrap up the show, there's just 3 more questions, and then we'll sign off. So.
All right.
All right. First, what is your theme song to life right now?
The Greatest Show from The Greatest Showman. Every morning I pump it in the car. It's a real pump up song.
What are your dance moves that you do in this car? Like one hand's on the wheel, right? Or 2 hands? 'Cause
Sometimes
you're
I
very
drive
safe.
with the knee.
Oh.
I'm gonna be honest. I am not
knee driver.
I grew up a knee driver. My dad used to do it in the car, like when he was drumming. I don't know. We got to move on. That makes me look like an unsafe driver.
Well,
Feel
the thing
terrible.
is, the reason my face is like this is because you are Miss Rule follower.
I
So
know.
Driving, I thought you were a 2 hands on the wheel kind of gal.
No, definitely only one hand normally. But
Learn something new about your friends every day.
I have really long legs. It works just as well as my hands. But
Okay,
anyway.
so you're driving with the knee. And what are the dance moves looking like?
It's mostly like
Hands
this.
in the
It's
air.
like, yeah.
Raising the roof.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Like a lot of arm motion.
So if you could bring home an exotic animal, what would that animal be, and what would you name it?
A baby elephant, and I would name it Bruce. I recently went to Thailand.
You had that one in the back of your mind. Like
Went to Thailand recently. Fed a baby elephant. Most joyful experience of my life. They're so playful and funny and cute. Oh my gosh, I love them. And I also love, I would either name it Bruce if it were a boy, Linda if it were a girl.
I was kissed on the neck by an elephant in South Africa, and I kid you not, it was the most disgusting smell I've ever smelled
That
in my
didn't happen
life.
for Thai elephants
I'm
are
glad-
totally different.
Well, I'm glad that you had a baby elephant. This was
Oh, no.
grandpa elephant that hasn't brushed his teeth in 52 days. Anyways,
good.
last question, and this is kind of for Ray because he's when we were talking about you being on the show, he wanted me to ask you what your bad habits were. So, what is a bad habit that you have, and And what
My husband. How did
what-
he infiltrate the show?
What are you doing to kick that bad habit?
I do sleep in. I sleep into the last minute and I hit the alarm all the time. So I'm going to test plugging in my alarm across the room, plugging in my phone across the room, and only using my my light alarm. It like simulates the sunrise.
Ooh.
The one I'm trying to think of what else.
That's
That's a good one. That's enough.
Yeah. Don't tell us anything.
Yeah, I don't-
anything deeper than that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna let him trick me on this one. I'll have words with him when we get home.
Thanks for the question, Ray. So thank you so much, Ash, for being on the show. Thanks for telling
thank
us
you for having
about
me.
your love for hospitality and gift giving and how you pour out love and generosity on others. So ladies, you are infinitely valuable. You were put on this earth for a purpose. God loves you. He created you, and he has a purpose for you that only you can accomplish. He has put passions in you, dreams and desires in your heart that are not in vain. They are for a purpose and for you to fulfill your gifts and your talents and to serve others and serve the kingdom. And I just want to encourage you to go out and be his hands and feet to this broken world. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch. If this message has encouraged you, then please click to subscribe and share with a friend who may be inspired by the message. Also, if you have an event coming up and you're looking for a speaker, click the link below to get in touch with me.